Well, look, man, I'm really excited that you guys are all here. I think we'll start out. We have a bunch of topics. I want to start out with the Coming to America review, just to see what you guys think about it. Anybody want to go first?
I do because I saw because like when it first came out because like nobody was really watching it until like oh it's on. So
Yeah.
I watched it and it wasn't bad, but it was like why you know. And I felt like to me personally, don't get Wesley Snipes is a great actor, but he's kind of like Count Dracula doing an African accent. It just like it's weird. I'm like, wait, is he kind of like Count Dracula? And then when they de-age Eddie and Arsenio, I said, nah, stop it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why did you de-age them just to do this thing? Like, it didn't make any sense. I see why they did it
Mm-hmm.
with his son or whatnot, how he got her pregnant, but they should have came up with something better than that. That concept. It was a Disney movie to me. I feel like it was a Disney movie because too much singing
Yeah.
going on. It was just too many special guests. It wasn't bad, but I was like, I can do without it. That's pretty much what I got to say about that.
The same way, it didn't lack that the magic of the first one. You know
And
what
I
I'm
don't
saying?
think,
Bless you.
you can't,
Excuse me.
you
God
can't,
bless the truth.
Thank you, brother.
right? You can't like do what they did in the '80s. It was the '80s. That was straight cocaine. Most of the movies in the '80s were made with cocaine. I've been saying this for years. You can't recreate that glory without cocaine. The
Right.
script had cocaine on it. Just the way it was just probably cocaine on it.
Like, God damn.
Exactly. You mean to tell me all the stuff they came up with, the brilliance and the comedy stuff they came up back in the '80s, you can't recreate that now in this day and
It
age.
was, yeah, I
Why?
get it.
So they had to do to modernize the younger generation. So I totally get that.
Right.
But was it just done to bring it back to a new generation? So you know how like everybody's going retro now and bringing stuff back. Like why are they bringing back Jinko jeans? I don't know. But like so are they just trying to bring Coming to America back to a new audience is what I was wondering too. Because again, yeah, the story was like, man, I thought it was kind of
Right.
funny in the beginning, but the only purpose I can see is to just gain that audience, gain a new generation of audience.
And I really see where I see where you're coming from, LJ, and I do agree. And I watched Eddie do an interview with Seth, what's his name, on late night, Seth
Seth
Meyers.
Meyers. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was talking about how he had finally realized in 2014 or 2015 that Coming to America was a cult hit, where he saw people dressing up as Akeem and Simi and did Randy Watson parties and all kind of stuff. And he was like, oh, okay, well, we could bring this back. And the movie had been in the works even longer than that. Like the late 90s, they had been, yeah, Eddie wants to get back into it. Eddie's going to do this. Eddie's going to do this. And then Eddie was like, no, I'm going to make this Nutty Professor money. And then I'm going to spend it all on Norbit. And then I got to come back and do some Nutty Professor to, to rebound. And then that was it. So I'm not the biggest fan of this sequel. To me, this was a Matrix Reloaded, Matrix Revolution situation. I like the fact they brought back the gang, but I actually didn't want to see them act. I would have loved a Coming to America 30th anniversary reunion where everybody got together and just talked about the great times, the cocaine on the scripts, as as James referred to. I would have loved to hear those stories, Rick Baker and how him and his crew did such, magical work with the makeup art with Mr. Clarence and the gang at the Mighty Sharp. I'd have loved that. But the fact that they ran with this, and like you said, it was funny for you at the beginning. For me, it wasn't funny until the end when I saw Randy Watson and Sexual Chocolate make that reunion tour. And the fact that when he was being introduced and you saw everybody from Queens losing it, people in Zamunda was like, what is he speaking of? And just the fact, you see Lunel like, oh no, it can't be. It can't be. And lo and behold, there he is in all of his, Jerry curled wonder. And, that made me happy and laugh. But the rest of the movie, I was kind of like, oh, okay, seen it before, it's cool, but it's not something I'm gonna go back to the well and watch again. unless I'm forced to by my little nephews because they want to see what, was the big deal. And I'm like, you can't watch it. And also, it should have been rated R. That was my thing.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm there with you.
Yes, that was my big takeaway too. It definitely should have been. It definitely should have been rated R because you can tell like they, and I don't know whether they toned it down just because of the times or did they tone it down because now Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall, they're not 25, 30 no more. They're like 59 and 60, and I think Arsenio Hall 65. So it's like you kind of see things differently. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I don't know that they even would want to put out a movie as raunchy as the first one. So I don't even know if it's the times that made them not want to put out something as raunchy, or if it's just, excuse me, the evolution of them as comedians. You know what I'm saying? Coming up.
Yeah. Well, I will say there is a scene in the movie that kind of goes with your sentiment with Mr. Clarence. When Mr. Clarence said, they were talking about, I guess, the Me Too movement and everything. And Mr. Clarence said, I'm glad I got mines in early. Oh, you can't go touching no girl like that. I'm glad I got it in early. And I think that's a lot of that has to do with that, because people went and watched Raw again and started talking about canceling Eddie Murphy. And it's like, oh, well, we got to be safe in some ways. But even being safe, you should still be funny. You can still have fun and make something good to where everybody enjoys it. Sadly, that didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, there were some things that it shouldn't be touched, and this was one of them. You know what I'm saying? Like it's already a cult hit. Everybody loves it. Everybody knows it word for word for the most part. All of the beats hit right, and this one it just repeated some of the same jokes, the same hits. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of the movies where, like I don't see myself going back to it. I don't see the point. I just rather go back to the first one, keep it moving. But yeah, it was just meh. It was like jokes here, joke there, little chuckle. You know what I'm saying? But that was all.
I think they had an impossible task, man. The piggyback on what you were saying, Ant, the first one was such a cult classic. You know what I'm saying? It was so, oh my God. Like, it's like, can you go back in time to the first time you ever watched Coming to America and get that same feeling in a sequel? I think it's damn near impossible. You know what I'm saying? I think sometimes it's like with movies, like for me, another movie like that would be the first Hangover, right? The first Hangover was hilarious, but I went into the movie theaters with no expectations. I think I just like watched it because it was nothing else playing. I was like, we're gonna see. And then like halfway through the movie, there's a tiger in the back seat, and the tiger like wakes up and paws to do that. Oh shit! Like, and when I tell you the whole theater is just everybody's crying from laughing so hard. So it's like trying to recreate that experience. It's like you can't do it. So it's like Coming to America 2 is they had a task that was impossible to complete, man. Like it's a no-win situation. You can't recreate that. That movie is just that is seared into Black like cinema history. Like it's a legend. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it would be like Jay-Z doing another Reasonable Doubt, or Biggie if he was still alive doing his first album again. Like he could come out with another good album, but it'll never be the nostalgia of the original. I think that's the same thing with Coming to America. I actually thought it was pretty good, man. I think given the fact that you're following up on a legend, and then you also kind of pigeonholing yourself by having it be PG-13, so it's going to be a lot more toned down. With those parameters, I would say they did a really good job with it. If you they went the raunchy route, I think it would have been a lot better though. Definitely would have been a lot better, man. I think they're trying to be safe. Eddie Murphy, he got like 100 kids now. I think the stuff he puts out, I really think that impacts his comedy, man, because I think he's more conscious of it now. Because when the first one came out, I don't even think he had any kids at that time.
No.
Yeah.
He didn't have kids until I think
the 90s, mid 90s, something like that.
Because his daughter is in the movie.
Oh, she is. What part
she plays the middle daughter.
Did not know that.
Uma. That's Bella Murphy. That's his second or third oldest child.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's another reason I think it would have been PG. It should have been PG-13 because I don't know if she'd want to hear her daddy cursing or if he wants her to hear him cursing a lot.
You know what? You know what was another reason too, and I think that it didn't hit on some of the same cylinders that the first movie hit. It was if you think about it, really think about it, it really wasn't Eddie Murphy in the first Coming to America that really made Coming to America funny. I'm talking about just his parts. His part was kind of straight on. You know what I'm saying? He's Prince Akeem. He's looking for a wife. Blah blah blah. It's kind of boring. It was all these side characters, like the dude at the basketball game. It's just you. It's just you. I could not believe, like, all of these little moments. It's always the side characters. You know what I'm saying? And I think in this movie, with the exception of the barbershop, it really didn't. It wasn't a whole lot of pop from those side characters too.
I do want to say we need to give our flowers as much as possible to James Earl Jones
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
because his few scenes that he had, he owned them. That I have to say, him cursing out Semi was funny. Him in the coffin when I was just like, why are you in a coffin? And I forgot he had said, I want my funeral to happen while I'm still alive. So I was like, all right, that's perfect. That's perfect, James Earl Jones. We got what we needed. One and done. Finish. Wesley Snipes, I really wish he'd have been a little more menacing and they would have dropped that HBCU band entrance completely out. I would have loved him to be dark and menacing and be comical at the same time. But, that's my wishful thinking.
Yeah, it kind of fell apart at the end there because, like, okay, so Wesley Snipes and his goons are fighting Eddie Murphy's daughters, but then, like,
Right.
by the end of the movie, like, they all friends again. Like, I don't. Well, what happened with that? Like, if you take a swipe at I don't have any daughters, but like, you try to punch my daughter, like, we'd never be cool. Like, that'll never happen. Like, it's on sight whenever I
Right.
see you, but like,
Well, I think the oldest
happened?
one whooped him.
She
So
did.
I mean, it was nothing you can say. Like, I don't care how many swipes you take, you got your ass handed to you. And she is I kind of say a MMA diplomat. She whip you down and then she'll talk you out of it. So I think with that was cool. And one more thing, were y'all okay with Tiana Taylor's entrance in this whole thing? The whole
I
get
didn't
off
understand it.
movement?
You say what? What did you say, Mark?
I didn't
mean, James?
I said I didn't understand it. It was like, oh, okay, all right, whatever.
Bro, anything. Listen, okay. I don't know whether it added to the movie or took away from the movie, but Tiana Taylor is like gloriously fine. So it's like, she could do no wrong in my book.
Right.
So anytime she's on the screen, I'm like, I'm with it. I'm okay.
And I'm not complaining.
No, not at all. It was just
I'm just
like,
saying,
God damn it.
like I sat there. Oh, I'm sorry, James. I sat there and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot Tiana Taylor's in it.
Yeah.
And the first time they showed her, I was like, oh, okay, the sexy ingenue and this, that, and the other. Look at Lavelle, he drooling. Akeem is like, ooh, maybe I should leave Lisa. That's cool. But then when they did the whole Prince song and dance, I just went,
exactly.
yeah, this is not needed. I mean, while she looks great in the birdcage outfit, I mean, whew, Ruthie Carter did her thing, but this wasn't needed,
Right.
And going back to the well with the old jokes, stay right here. But my king tells me to, I'm like, oh, okay. Got it. All
I'm
right.
gonna say the one that threw me off when Rick Ross just showed up out of nowhere. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Why is he here? Like, it was just weird. Like, why? And he talking in an African accent. Like, you taught y'all to do that.
Well, I think that was we owe you for letting us use your house
Use the house, yeah.
Right.
for the mansion.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was his crib.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that was. Oh wait. We don't have that much money to pay you. We'll put you in the movie. Oh, all
The
right.
cameo. Well,
All right, so look, let's put it to a vote, man. Like it or no, simple. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Coming to America. I'm gonna start with you, G. Okay. I'm gonna give it a thumbs up. What about you, Ant? Okay. LJ?
I give it a thumbs up.
Okay. Break that time, James. Break that time, man. Okay.
And look, I'm be honest. I was gonna do like this,
Yeah.
put it in the middle,
Yeah, me too.
Fred
But-
Sanford.
but I want to save people from themselves. You know,
Mhm.
and it's like I said, Chris. If you enjoyed it, nothing wrong with that. If you didn't enjoy it, nothing wrong with that.
I
But
gotta watch it one more time, bro. Like
yeah,
You need to experience it. I mean,
yeah. Because think about it. The first time you see, and this is another thing too. When Coming to America, the first one came out, I was a kid, so I'm laughing because everybody else is laughing. Half the jokes I didn't even get. I was like
hmm
fucking 5 or something. Like, but it's like
okay, you're making me feel old.
you stupid. Like how would it be watching it right now? Like I'm sure I would still find it funny, but it's like how funny would I find it? You know what I'm saying?
Right. I know for me, like I said, I watched it. I watched it today, the original.
Mhm.
I'm still quoting that thing and killing myself laughing.
Yeah,
You know,
classic, man.
and like you
Mhm.
said, you were 5. I was 11. Yes, I'm old, y'all. Sorry.
Man, get out of here.
I was well. I'm 43. I'm gonna be 44. But and I could go back to when we went see it in the movies. They were looking at my dad and my mom like we were crazy. They were crazy for bringing children with them.
Yeah.
This is a rated R film. Why are you bringing these kids in there? And when I say I laughed the loudest and understood the jokes, well, and plus I used to listen to Two Live Crew at a young age, so I knew some things. So it's nostalgia for me. And seeing this sequel, I tried to take the nostalgia out and treat it as a new movie all by itself. But once it got in and I see Akeem and he's doing it is our anniversary, I'm like, oh my goodness, we're right back into 1988 again. So now I got to compare it to what I saw before, and it was kind of hard. But if you want to watch it, go watch it. Just do it.
My parents would never let me watch Eddie stuff, but I can watch all the violence and horror movies. I couldn't watch Def Jam, but I can
Ain't that
watch
wild? That's wild, right?
90 people.
My parents the same thing.
Like, what? I can't watch Eddie Murphy,
Wow.
Def Comedy Jam, but I can watch Arnold kill 90 people?
Well, oh look, with one gun. He got a 9mm. He somehow takes out like 100 people. Like it never runs out of bullets. Never.
Magical bullets, man. Magical gun.
Magical
That's
bullet.
it.
All right.